I'm James Gardner, host of Your History, Your Story, a podcast for everybody who loves stories about interesting people and events told by those who uncovered them from within their own family trees. This, we hope, will inspire you to discover and celebrate your history and your story. Back in 2004, a young UC Berkeley engineering student, William Hung, quickly rose to stardom following his rejection from the widely popular television show American Idol. William, along with his mother and father, had immigrated to the United States from Hong Kong in 1993 when he was 10 years old. While adjusting to a new language and culture, he developed an early love for music by singing karaoke with his parents. Years later, after winning a talent contest at his college, he felt confident enough to try out for American Idol. His wildest dreams were realized when he made it through a few preliminary rounds and ended up auditioning in front of judges Simon, Paula, and Randy. Although William was rejected after that audition, he became very popular, released some albums, and was sought after to appear on numerous talk, news, and entertainment shows. Now, almost 20 years since William's first appearance on American Idol, he has become known more for his motivational speaking and his passion for helping others find their voice and maintain a positive attitude in the face of criticism. In this episode of Your History, Your Story, we are honored to have William share his story with us. I'd now like to welcome William Hung to our show. Welcome, William.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Terrific. Well, William, I got to say this. When my daughter heard that I was going to be interviewing you, she was so excited because when she was about 13 years old, she saw you appear on American Idol. And after that, she got your CD. She was playing it in our house and she was talking about you. So when I mentioned we met you down in Florida briefly, and we told her about that. So she was really thrilled to hear that we're going to be interviewing you. So thank you for agreeing to be on our show.
Yeah, let's go. I'm excited.
Okay. So William, let's start off talking about your early days. You were born in Hong Kong?
Yes.
And when did you come to the United States?
1993.
As far as when you first came here, did you have trouble adapting? Did you have issues with the language? How were those early days as far as school and things like that?
Yeah, it took me about 3 years to get used to the English language. To this day, English is still my second language, but it's a lot easier over the years when you use it every day. It's just like any other skill. You practice, you can get better.
What a challenging change for you. It must have been kind of difficult, right?
Yeah, I think one of the big changes is I think the Asian culture, like Chinese, Japanese, Korean culture compared to Western culture, say American and European. One of the really big changes is like the communication style. I had to learn how to stand up and speak up for myself.
Right, right. So, William, as you were getting settled in your new home, your new country, we know that you ultimately ended up very famous for your singing. So you must have developed an interest in music. So can you tell us in your earliest days, what brought you into an interest in music?
Well, my parents loved singing karaoke and they brought me along.
Excellent. And then did you pick up any musical instruments as well?
Yeah, I learned how to play clarinet and saxophone in middle school and high school. I wasn't great at it, but they needed someone to fill the role, so I tried.
Good for you. And I got to say that I tried to play the trombone when I was in fourth grade, and the trombone was bigger than I was, and I didn't do too well at it. And how did you foster your singing abilities?
Oh my goodness. I don't think I ever had professional training. It's not like I got a coach, work on my voice every day. Not before the audition anyway.
And you mentioned about karaoke as well. You did karaoke singing and that was just with family and friends, was it?
Yeah, but one thing that may have helped a little bit, whether it's just even if it's just entertainment value, is like I like to try different kinds of songs. I remember I started off singing Cantonese songs, and then I started learning a few English songs, like from pop songs.
Okay. So before you sort of hit the American stage in your 2004 appearance on American Idol, you were moving on with your life. You were in college, and tell us about those years.
I was very good at math and science. Then I got accepted into UC Berkeley to study for civil engineering. It turns out the college was not as easy as I thought. I was struggling. I thought I was going to flunk out of school. Then one day, I saw a poster for a school talent show at the dormitories. I figured, why not? Let's try. Then I sang one of my favorite songs, Ricky Martin's She Bangs.
Iconic, iconic.
And I
So
had no expectations, but somehow I won.
you won the contest. So how did that
Yes,
feel? How did that feel, William?
it felt like so surprising and amazing at the same time.
Terrific. So how did that lead to auditioning at American Idol?
I saw American Idol on the news a few days later. They said, if you want to come out, it's free. Audition in San Francisco. So I stood in line with 3,000 other people at a baseball park.
So what were your thoughts as far as even possibly going in front of the main judges at that time? What were your thoughts about your odds?
The odds were against me. 99.999%. I expect them to just tell me, sorry, you're not good enough, go home. But somehow, that's what happened to many people. Like they got like their 15 seconds of singing, and that was it. But then for me, they let me sing over a minute, and they let me through. They told me to come back the next day.
What was going through your mind when they said that to you?
Well, what most people may not know, I auditioned in front of the staff members first, and then the producers, and then eventually Randy, Paula, and Simon. So when I got through that preliminary round, I was thinking, wow, what a surprise. It's so crazy.
So what when you were preparing for the next round, let's not even skip forward yet to getting in front of the big judges, Simon Cowell and Randy and Paula.
Right.
Talk about the next round after the preliminary round. Were you nervous or how were you feeling?
I was very nervous. I remember I sang a different song at the beginning, like Two Worlds by Phil Collins. I don't even know how I got through. And then one of the staff members, and she's now a producer, and I want to give her credit because, Megan Wolflick, because without her, I wouldn't be where I am today. So shout out to her. But yeah, she let me through. And then she asked me oh, what other songs do you know? And I told her, well, I know She Bangs because everybody loved it at my school. And she said right away, like, okay, you gotta do She Bangs. And then you need to come change your clothes. You need to pick better clothes for tomorrow. And then she gave me this ticket to come back to the hotel. Yeah, I didn't know what it's gonna be like. Yeah, it was from some other producers, and then I did She Bangs again. At any point, I thought, okay, you tell me go home, it's okay, not big deal. But then they let me through.
So let's talk about the day that you came up against the big guns. How did you
Yeah,
feel going into that, and what happened?
I still didn't expect to make it through. I was thinking at some point they're gonna stop me, and then Simon is going to say some mean things to me because that's what he does to many people. And then as soon as I began my audition, Randy held up this white sheet of paper to cover up his face and giggling throughout the audition.
Uh,
And right away I knew I had no chance, so I just tried to have fun. Paula was smiling, and I kept going. She bangs. Oh, baby, when she moves, I go crazy. Then Simon said, thank you, thank you. You can't sing, you can't dance. So what do you want me to say?
oh, ouch. So what went through your mind at that time?
I was Shocked. I don't want to say shocked, but I was shocked. I don't know why. It's like I knew that was coming at some point. My head went down. I wasn't sure. I took a few moments. I collected myself. Then I thought, wait a minute. I don't need to be angry and upset like most people on TV. And that's why I said I already gave my best. I have no regrets at all.
Perfect. So it's a different way of handling it, right? Because I
Yeah.
know that there's some contestants, or I've seen a lot of contestants
Hmm.
get angry or they burst into tears or whatever. And I understand to some degree because they feel they've worked really hard and all this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But you're competing against some of the best singers in the country,
Yes.
and people just saying, "Well, I didn't make it, so I'm so upset and sad." So you chose to take a different approach. So what happened then after you finished with that audition? How did it roll out after that?
Well, Paula said, good for you. That's the best attitude yet. I said, I had no professional training. And Simon goes, no. Well, that's the surprise of the century.
Oh boy. And you still maintain a positive attitude after that, right?
Yeah, and then I remember when I rewatched the audition, Ryan Seacrest would say like he has to find somewhere else to bang other than Hollywood.
Oh gee. But what a great experience that was. But I guess maybe you expected it, maybe you didn't. I would imagine you didn't expect
No.
what would happen after the audition and after you went back home. Tell us about that.
Well, another thing that people might not know is that there was like a 4 month gap between the audition time and the time they aired it on TV. So it was like I was just carrying along normal life, finished my study, whatever it was. Then all of a sudden, on a New Year's Day, I will never forget this. I saw myself on a commercial during a Cotton Bowl football game. I was like, "What? Why are they airing me?"
So you're shocked. You're shocked at this point.
Yeah, but at that point, I still didn't think much of it. I was just thought, well, most people when they get that airtime as a bad singer, whatever. It just like people laugh a little bit. That's it. Nothing really happens to them.
But things were a little different for you, weren't they?
Oh my goodness. So on the night, like when they broadcast my audition, I was so scared that I couldn't even go outside. I didn't have the courage. I watched it, I hide myself in the room. My roommates were out partying, whatever. And then right after it was done, I got like hundreds of emails from people I didn't know. And then some of those people were Ryan Seacrest, Entertainment Tonight, Ellen DeGeneres. Who knew?
How do you respond to that? You're in school, right? You still got life to carry on with in 4 months, right? So you figure, I tried, it didn't work. I mean, I'm amazed I got that far, but and all of a sudden you're getting all these requests. So they wanted to meet with you, they wanted to speak with you. What happened?
They wanted to do interview with me, and then also a few people were offering me like movie opportunities. And then a few days later, one of my friends created my website, williamhung.net, and they went viral, got over 8 million hits in less than a month.
Oh my goodness.
And then the other thing that happened was like as soon as I went back to school the next day, nothing happened at first. I thought it was normal. But then after the class was done, people wanted my pictures and autographs.
So how do you put your head back into school when you got all this going on? How could you proceed normally after that?
The answer is I couldn't. Yeah, I tried. I tried to I tried to not do too many engagements in the beginning. I tried everything I could to finish the semester, but eventually I just realized I couldn't handle it. I was falling behind in my classes. I talked to my counselor. I said, I couldn't handle this. I really needs a way out. Is there a way out? Like without like basically have a really bad record. And then he said, you know what? I understand. I'm one of your fans, and he helped me like take care of the paperwork, like which like a formal withdrawal from school, basically. So that's how I was able to like, okay, let's put my school on hold. He said I was welcome to come back anytime when I'm ready, and that's what happened.
That was very wise that you made that decision and chose to take that course because there's no way you could have kept up with the studies with this going on in your life. I mean, this is an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you started you mentioned about was it 8 million? 8 million?
Yeah, 8 million hits in less than a month. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
So you started developing a fan base and you put out an album. So how quickly did the album come out?
Quicker than most albums. Pretty much like if we were to measure by time from recording to publish, maybe that would be the Guinness time record. Like within a few weeks.
So how did it feel recording that record, that album?
Well, I knew that what they were trying to do. I was even though I didn't have experience with showbiz, I knew they were trying to put out this album to take advantage of the momentum before they could American Idol could find the winner for that season.
I got you. But now you have all of a sudden you have people called fans.
Yes.
And how did you view those fans? I mean, there were so many of them. How did you feel about having people who were interested in hearing you and interested in your story?
That feel amazing. I think the fans is what keeps me going throughout all these years because there were a lot of critics who didn't like what I did. Whether it's they saying like my singing is bad, I portray stereotypes, I shouldn't be in this showbiz business, I don't have the raw talent. And I understand where those people are coming from. Because if we were to measure using any standard measures like standard like ways of looking at it, yeah, I don't have the raw talent. You're right, but then when I noticed also have all these fans around the world, then that may be like okay, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and then I also want to share my version of my story, let people know it's okay to try something new. And that's the main reason. Yes, money was nice. It was a big motivator, but it wasn't the only factor.
Yeah, you said try something new. I mean, so many of us are afraid, aren't we, sometimes to try something new and
Yeah,
positive. Like the first time that I decided I was going to run in a half marathon, my wife and I got to tell you, we were both really nervous about trying it. And only
yeah.
were we were we beat up after that race, but to this day, we are very glad we did it. That's at a smaller model of what you're talking about. Yours was huge. There were people, internationally that were paying attention to you and knew your name. It was so many people, even today, a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I know who that is. Sure, William Hung." So as time went on and you started doing some guest appearances, what kind of shows did you appear on?
Oh, I was on many different talk shows in the beginning and entertainment shows like Extra, Jay Leno, Jimmy Kimmel, Larry King Live. Yeah, those are initial, and then Howard Stern.
Of course, yeah. So you really did the circuit. Now, as time went on, and now you've got this positive attitude that right from the get go, when you got turned down by the judges, you maintain that positive, I would say, gracious attitude. As time went on, and maybe you weren't getting as many calls or anything like that anymore, and weren't getting the emails, how were you able to maintain that positive attitude, that gracious attitude that you had right from the start? How did that work out?
Well, I always knew the entertainment business may not last a lifetime, no matter how good you are. So I already thought about my backup plans. I was grateful for what I received from my fans and everyone involved. There's no going back. I would never trade it for anything else. So I was ready. Like, okay, well, maybe I go finish school, I get a day job, see how I could evolve, reinvent myself over time.
So you did go back to school and you ended up getting your degrees, correct?
Yes, yeah, I got my bachelor's in math and then master's in business.
Math and business. So you didn't let the grass grow under your feet then.
No.
That's good. But tell me this, you've got this, you care about your fans, you wanna get this message out, but even when you maybe lost that really stardom that you had that happened after your appearance on American Idol, how did you continue to project and pass on that passion that you have for others to try new things, to be happy and positive? And you and I have spoken before, and you mentioned about feeling joy every day.
Yes.
How have you gone forward and continued to spread that message, even though you don't have as wide an audience as you did back in the early days of the 2000s?
Well, I focus on my mission to help people find their freedom by using their voice because that's what I did for myself. Sometimes in life, you never ask, you never get. You don't know what will happen. I think now is so different from like let's say 10 or 20 years ago. Now it's more about the quality of your relationships. So people may have heard this one before, but I do agree with this perspective. It's more like about changing that one life at a time. It's not, a specific number. Oh, I have 8 million followers or one whatever the number is. Therefore, I'm happy. That's not. I don't see it that way anymore.
One life changed is worth it, right?
Yeah.
If you run into a person and you're able to maybe turn that person's thinking around from negativity, from sort of sadness or fear
Yeah.
to hopeful and looking forward to things, that person then can then reach more people, and it's just like it spreads out, it's just contagious. And
Yes.
your positivity, the way that you approach people, and I was fortunate enough to hear you speak at the Podfest Expo this year down in Orlando. You had a very brief time that you were speaking, but boy, were you impactful with regard to giving people hope. And you know, when you sometimes when you get people criticize you or something like that, that you turn it around and you don't repay criticism with criticism. You take it in as a learning experience. You're doing motivational speaking now, right, William?
Yes, I do.
Tell us about that. That's so interesting.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that as a possible business path until like 5 years ago. It was a very long journey. I had my dream life for about 4 years in the beginning since American Idol. And then I struggled through two divorces. I had a day job that I didn't like. But then one of my friends, she said, maybe you can try the speaking route instead of just the singing. So I tried. I got invited to speak at a big conference. I was the closing keynote. Oh my God, goodness, the last person for the day. It was a lot of pressure. It's like, okay, if I screw up this one, I'm not gonna able to get another one. But that's the feeling I got. But I did well, and then and then I opened more doors, and then I built up my resume, over time, and that's how I got into it.
That is great. When you give your story about how you went in front of Simon and Company and you got the feedback, which a lot of people might have just walked away, but it slumped over, and what you did with it. That's a great way to say to people, if you fail, we all go through failures, right? We get things
Yes,
that don't work out for us. How you can leverage that into something else, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
yes. For dealing with failures, like you said, everyone will deal with failures and setbacks. So it's what you learn from it and how you improve for next time. But I don't agree with the fail often and fail fast either. I don't like that because I feel that one it will give me the wrong mindset where like oh I just do like a I don't I like a half baked effort. I don't give it my all. Like when I said like I already gave my best, I have no regrets. It's a life philosophy. It wasn't some line I made up on the spot before. It's just how I felt. And that's the way we approach life.
That makes a lot of sense. So don't go into something sort of half prepared or half into it and then say, that's all right. If I fail, I'll fail fast and I'll I'll try something else. It sounds to me what you're telling me is you're going to go in 110%.
Yes,
And then if you do fail, it's a learning experience, right?
that's right.
You can leverage that to success.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, right?
Yes, exactly.
Wow. I know how my wife Kelly and I, when we heard you speak live, how that impacted us. And we've talked to people about it as well. And that's why I wanted to speak with you. Yes, I wanted to speak with you because your name was a household word for a while there, but it's really your message now that's really intrigued me. I've talked about this with some other guests before, but having gone through COVID, everybody this world has gone through COVID.
Yeah.
I think some people are losing a little bit of their self-esteem, maybe they're depressed, maybe they're anxious. How do you feel your message? Well, you went through COVID too, so
Yeah, I did. I survived it. I'm very, very fortunate. Yeah.
how did that affect you personally and your message that you're giving as a motivational speaker now?
I learned to appreciate life more every moment. All the experiences together. It's not always just the work and the real like showing up for podcast interviews like this one or your marketing and a big event or whatever. It's not just the work side of it. It's also just living life, appreciating life.
I love that. And we were kind of starved for interpersonal relationships, like actually in-person relationships, because it's great doing Zoom and speaking to people on FaceTime and all that. But we do need personal interaction too, don't we? Like real personal interaction. So how can people find out more about you today, William?
The best way is through Instagram, William Hung Official. I am also active on Facebook and LinkedIn. My website, the one I mentioned, williamhung.net, is under construction. So yeah, stay tuned for more exciting updates.
So you're actively doing public speaking and motivational speaking, I should say.
Yes,
You have any other projects that you've got going on right now? Any things that you're looking forward to doing in the future?
there are definitely a couple of projects I'm very excited about. The first one is I'm going to launch my own podcast called Make Your Dreams Come True.
I love it. How perfect is that? That's great, William. And what else? Do you have anything else that's you have down the line in your brain?
Yes, another idea is I would love to create this board game to help people try new businesses and careers without spending so much time and money upfront like I did.
I better get a hold of that game real quickly. Have some fun and learn a lot of stuff too.
Yeah.
That is so neat. So, William, what do you want your legacy to be?
Wow, that's a good question. Maybe if I can inspire just one more person to try out something new that's unique. Like it's not always the normal expectation from society. Oh, you have to be an engineer, a lawyer, a doctor, or even some people told me like, oh, you should be an online coach or whatever. Because it's so common to fall into that trap. And then when you do that, it feels like I'm living somebody else's life instead of my own life that I wanted. So that's what I want to be remembered for. Is someone that made it, but I did it in my own terms, my own way.
Very good. I love that. And for anybody who's interested in getting in touch with you, you've already mentioned the ways to do that. Let me ask you, are you still doing any music?
Of course, I am still singing and performing, but like you said, I am focusing more on the motivational speaking, and I use the my music as entertainment to attract the audience to keep them engaged.
Yes. And when we saw you, you did a little bit of your audition piece that you were doing, and that is so much fun. I'm just so happy that there's positive people like you who are out there, not just getting out there to to have fun, which you apparently do. I can see you're having fun just talking to me right now. I know I'm having a good time. You also want to spread the word to other people. The way you approached the judges on American Idol was one of, hey, look, I'm not going to come back and say anything nasty. I'm going to take it and I'm going to move on. I'm going to learn from it. But the other thing is that sometimes we may be looking for something. You're going out, you auditioned to become American Idol. You didn't get that, but you get something else that's pretty good too, right?
Yes, yeah.
And you did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, William, I want to thank you so much. You have been a wonderful guest, and I appreciate what you do. Do you have a message for your fans right now that you'd like them to hear today?
Well, remember that you may not know how your journey will pan out. Just like for my journey, it was so unpredictable. So focus on taking the next step to get closer to achieving your dreams.
Excellent. And William, I want to thank you again for being a guest on our show. And I wish you the very, very best in all that you do going forward. Okay. And
Thank you.
can't wait for that board game to come out because I get it. And we're going to have a lot of fun with it. So I hope you have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, William.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Your History, Your Story. You can connect with us on Facebook and YouTube at Your History, Your Story, or on Instagram and Twitter at YHYS Podcast. We'd love to hear from you if you have any questions, comments, or a story to tell. Be well and God bless.